Good morning, students, and a very warm hello to all of you on this chilly morning in Gandhinagar. Students, if you had watched our program on Samuel Johnson and the Odes of Keats, then you will already be well acquainted with our expert speaker today. If you are joining us for the first time, then allow me to introduce Madam to you. She is Dr. Indira Nityanandam, serving presently as Principal Srimati S.R. Mehta Arts College, Ahmedabad. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Namita.
Today's lecture will be on prosody, a topic that I would say most students as well as teachers sometimes find difficult. But I hope at the end you will find that we have been able to make prosody very easy for all of you. Ma'am, if you could just tell us something about prosody?
Thank you, Namita. I think the word prosody frightens us because when you read poetry, what are you reading poetry for? What is important in poetry? Are you looking at the meaning? These questions come to mind. But prosody is something about the flow, something about the music, something about the rhythm, something about the meter. Look at the slide, my dear students. You will notice that there is flow. Prosody is about the flow in poetry. Everywhere there is rhythm all around us, natural as well as man-made. Tides ebb and flow. The moon waxes and wanes. Spring, summer, autumn, winter follow in a regular order. Night succeeds day and day night. Within our bodies, heart and lungs work rhythmically. We are born, grow up, mature, decay, and die. We dance and sing, creating our own rhythms in movement and sound. Our everyday speech is rhythmical. And that is why we are going to talk about prosody. My dear students, just listen to this little verse that I'm going to read to you. Maybe some of it doesn't make any sense, but as Namita said, at the end of the hour, and I'm sure it's going to make a lot of sense to you. Just listen carefully to this. Iambic feet are firm and flat and come down heavily like that. Trockeys dancing very lightly, sparkle, froth and bubble brightly. Dactylic daintiness lilting so prettily, moves about, fluttering rather than wittily. While for speed and for haste such a rhythm is the best, as we find in the race of the quick and the pest. I'm sure you noticed some words that probably are new to you. Probably that you already heard of them in the class on prosody. Iambic, trochee, dactyl, anapist. Let's see, we're going to talk about that. But Namita, do you think every poem is read like that? Or do you think poems are read in a different way?
Definitely in a different way, ma'am. In fact, why don't we try out this poem?
Yeah, let's hear that, Namita.
Break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh well for the fisherman's boy, that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh well for the sailor lad, that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships go on to the haven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, 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 at the foot of thy crags, O sea, but the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me.
That was beautiful, Namita. I'm sure, my dear students, you noticed that there is a lilt, that there is a tune, that there is a music. Do you always notice this when you read a poem? When you hear a poem being read? Remember, poetry should always be read aloud. Silent reading does not help you get the music of the poem. When you look at a poem, my dear students, can I have the next slide, please? What is it that you're looking for in a poem? I'm sure the matter and the manner, Namita, are equally important. Let us think of a poem which is very, very well known to most of our students. I'm thinking of Milton's sonnet on his blindness. Let us begin by looking at what the subject matter is. What do you think the poem is about, my dear students? I'm sure 100 answers come to your mind. Namita, what do you think is the main theme or the subject?
I would say it is religious in nature,
Absolutely.
devotion to God, and something if.
Yeah,
Please,
and,
ma'am.
and Namita, you remember this question of what am I going to do if I have a talent which I
Right.
cannot use?
Use.
And that is why he uses a form which was very popular in his time, in the Elizabethan ages as well as the Puritan. He uses a form which we call the sonnet. Remember, my dear students, you all know about the sonnet.
That must have rung a bell.
Absolutely, I'm sure. Uh, what else contributes to the greatness of a poem? I think figures of speech are
Right.
very, very important.
Very important.
Namita, can you quickly tell our students what figures of speech?
If they remember similes, metaphors, if we talk about on his blindness in particular, then Milton uses plenty of similes, metaphors, and ma'am,
Yeah.
the pun that he uses.
Very important. Remember, he talks about the talent. And to most of us, talent is kaushalya. Talent is ability. Talent is capability. But Milton uses it in another sense, in a biblical sense. The biblical English used the word talent to mean a gold coin, you know, a mohra. He uses it in that sense because he says to hide it would be death to me. And at the end of the poem, we ask ourselves, what is the appeal that the poem makes to you? Because when you read a poem, that's very important.
It's important that it should have a message because
Absolutely.
that reaches our hearts. Definitely, ma'am. And whenever I think of on his blindness, I'm reminded of Abu Ben Adhem to a large extent.
Ah, yes, may his tribe increase.
Yes,
What makes
because
you see the connection, Namita?
I think both the poems have religion as an important theme.
Absolutely.
And devotion to God, because Abu Ben Adhem at the end also says that he tells the angel that then tell God that I love his creatures, and then the angel returns and the angel says that your name tops the list of those that God loves.
You remember that service to humanity is service to God. You know, it's
Yes,
something like
yes,
that because if you
definitely.
love God's creatures, obviously you love God. In the
Yes.
same way, if you serve humanity, you're serving God.
God.
All poems need not have a moral, but some
Right.
of these poems have a fantastic moral for our
Fantastic.
students. For all readers, it would be wrong to say students because all of us, at whatever age we may read poetry, it appeals to us
Oh,
at different ages, probably for different reasons. When we are talking of prosody, my dear students, what we have to remember is something about the rhythm. Rhythm comes from the Greek word flow. There is a flow, as I told you at the beginning of the lecture, in everything around us. So rhythm comes from the word. Do not confuse rhythm with rhyme. Rhyme is what you generally see at the end of a line. And therefore, if I say king, immediately you're going to give me words like
Sing, ring,
thing, wing,
thing,
you know, you can
ring,
go on and on.
right.
Cat, and then you have
fat.
right? That is rhyme. But we are talking about rhythm. You know, rhythm is something which is so much a part of music. Rhythm is something which gives a musical quality to poetry. And remember, when we talk of lyric, for example, at a literary form, the rhythm is very important. The English language has a rhythm, has a rhythmic quality about it, which probably is not true of all our languages, or maybe it's not true of all languages of the world.
Definitely, ma'am. In fact, English is said to have said to be a stress-timed language, whereas French, for example, is a syllable-timed language. That is perhaps the difference between the two.
Yes, and students might remember that in their general English, maybe, they must have done something about stressed and unstressed.
Unstressed.
We've talked about very simple words like about, where you have some word is stressed and some word is unstressed.
Unstressed.
Do you remember, students, something about monosyllable words? Namita, would there be some examples that come to your mind immediately?
Very simple words, in fact. Eat, drink, sign, well, tweet. In fact, when we were in school, we used to play a game. Usually, you have monosyllabic words that are very short, and the longest that we could think of was 7-letter words. School, Squeeze, splurge. These are monosyllabic, though they have 7 letters.
I
And
think there's an interesting word which is not very common. You know the scythe?
yes,
S-C-Y-T-H-E?
right.
That's also a long word, S-C-Y-T-H-E, but only 6. So you
the
win.
scythe and the
You have got a
sickle,
7-syllable
7.
word, yeah. Scythe. I
Right.
was thinking of psyche, but then psyche becomes 2 syllables.
2 syllables.
Right? Psyche,
right.
so I can't have
Right,
psyche. Yeah.
right.
So we have this common feature of the English language, which sometimes makes it different for us Indians to learn the language, because stress is very important. When you change the stress, the meaning could change. And I once met a British lady, Namita, who told me that when the rickshaw person said, the driver said, "Do you want to go to the hotel?" She didn't understand. She says, "Thrice he asked me, and thrice I didn't understand." And then I told myself, "Oh, hotel, hotel." No, we don't say hotel, Namita. We all say
Right.
hotel. But syllable stress is very important.
Very important.
How would you distinguish stress in syllables, Namita? With some examples maybe for our students?
Ma'am, for example, it is a common mistake in India to say develop, because we do not know that the stress comes on the second syllable. It should be students develop. And similarly, like if you look at photograph and it changes to photography,
Right.
because this syllable changes. We gave you, our ma'am gave you monosyllabic words. Should we tell them about?
Yeah, do tell them something about,
Di-
the stress on the first syllable,
Okay.
stress on the second syllable.
for
So
ex-
that it's clear, so that when we go to scansion,
Definitely.
when we talk
Definitely.
about prosody, they'll know
Okay.
really what we are talking
So,
about. Yeah.
if we take up 2-syllable words, where the stress is on the first syllable, for example, giant, picture, heating, and 2-syllable words where the stress is on the second syllable, today, ahead. Notice we don't say today, we say today. We don't say ahead, we say ahead. Allow. Then similarly, you can have 3-syllabic words: energy, operate, organize, and going on to more. For example, 4-syllable words: secondary. And you also have words where the stress is on the penultimate, that is, the second from the end. Graphic, geographic. Notice most students say geography. That is the wrong pronunciation. It's geography or geographic. Geologic, television, revelation. I think maybe
Yeah, I
they
think,
would have
Namita, it
got
gets very clear.
understood.
But
Right.
students, remember, we are stressing it so that it becomes clear to you.
Right.
You say it normally, even then you will realize that you are stressing the right syllable.
Right syllable.
In most of our words. There could be 1 or 2 words where we make a mistake, but otherwise, most of the time, we are saying it the right way. And we shouldn't make it so artificial. When we explain it to you, we make it clear. But when you say it, please say it continuously. About, allow, right? You don't have to say allow, but you
Right.
say allow, about, ahead, away.
Very true.
And you would notice that the stress is on the second syllable in all the words that I just mentioned. Could we have the slide, please, again? Namita, we talked about word rhythm. Is there something about sentence rhythm also? Could you say something about what happens when we use sentences?
Yes, ma'am. Like, for example, if I ask a question, where are you going?
Yeah.
That-
Where are you going? Where are you going? Notice, students, and let's have Namita answering the question also.
I am going to the cinema.
Where are you going? Notice, where are you going? It's always rising. And where is Namita going?
I'm going to
To the cinema. Right? I'm going to the cinema. Now, this rise and fall, right? We call this sentence rhythm.
Rhythm.
In the same way, when we look at words, when we look at stress and unstress, there are certain rules which guide us. A quick look at how figures at parts of speech take on either the stress or the unstress. Can we have the slide again, please? There are certain rules in the English language. Certain parts of speech are always stressed. For example, and remember, students, I'm talking about single syllable words. Let's look at nouns, for example, Namita.
Book.
Yeah,
Rule,
They're all stressed, right?
Right.
They're always stressed when we are talking about single syllables. In the same way, adjectives, when they are single syllables, like good, like bad, like clean,
Sure.
right? Now, what happens? All these are stressed. Verbs are stressed. Verbs are stressed. Dance, drink, play, walk, eat, sit, speak. They're all stressed. So are adverbs. Quick, right? So are adverbs. In the same manner, there are certain rules about unstressed. I could put it very simply, my dear students, that the important words are stressed and the not so important, or words which are performing only a grammatical function. For example, articles, right? Articles don't have any meaning. You know, pronouns, we know that they replace the noun. So you must have a noun in order to have a pronoun. So pronoun is performing a grammatical function. Now these words are most of the time unstressed. Again, we are talking about monosyllabic words. So if you have auxiliaries like can, may, will, shall, would, if you have pronouns like I, me, you, they, them,
Them.
if you have conjunctions like and, if you have prepositions like in, on, etc., right? They are all unstressed.
Unstressed. For example, you and me. We do not stress the and. We say it
Absolutely.
very, very quickly.
Absolutely. You know, when you write, you might write a cup of tea.
Right.
But when you say it, Namita, you
A
say
cup
it
of
as a cup of tea, right? A cup of tea. That's what we do.
Very true.
Why have we said all this to you in such great detail? Namita, I just want to restate that point, emphasize the point that we are now going to move on to what we call